Welcome to another episode of Midnight Case Files, where we explore some of the world's most shocking true crime cases. These stories are based on publicly reported events and are shared for education, awareness, and discussion. Listener discretion is advised. Let's open tonight's case.
May mga krimen na kahit ilang dekada na ang lumipas, hindi pa rin nawawala sa isip ng mga tao. At isa sa mga kasong hanggang ngayon ay pinag-uusapan pa rin sa Pilipinas, ang Visconde Massacre. Isang krimen na hindi lang dahil sa brutalidad nito naging kontrobersyal, kundi dahil sa mga tanong na naiwan matapos ang investigasyon, trial, conviction at eventually acquittal. Pero bago tayo magpatuloy, this episode is based on publicly reported events and court records. May mga allegations at testimonies na pinagtalunan throughout the case. Kaya pag-uusapan natin kung ano ang naiulat, ano ang naging ebidensya at ano ang naging ruling ng korte. Hindi natin ginagawang entertainment ang suffering ng victims. We are here to remember them and understand the case. Noong June 13, 1991, may isang pamilya na nasa bahay nila sa BF Homes, Parañaque, ang pamilya Visconde. Si Estrelita Visconde kasama ang dalawang anak niyang babae na sina Carmela at Jennifer. Si Lauro Visconde, ang ama ng pamilya, ay wala sa bahay nang mangyari ang krimen. Sa punto ngayon, walang nakakaalam na magiging isa iyon sa pinakamadilim na gabi ng buhay ng kanilang pamilya. Kinabukasan, natagpuan ng tatlong babae na patay sa loob ng kanilang bahay, si Estrelita, si Carmela, at si Jennifer. Si Carmela na 18 years old lamang ay iniulat ding sexually assaulted. 3 members of one family killed inside their own home, at doon nagsimula ang isang investigasyon na aabot ng maraming taon. Imagine, isang ordinaryong residential area, isang bahay na dapat safe place para sa isang pamilya, pero sa loob nito, may isang buong pamilya na hindi na makakauwi sa normal nilang buhay. Nagsimula ang police investigation. Sino ang pumasok sa bahay? Paano nangyari ang krimen? May kakilala ba ang mga biktima? At higit sa lahat, sino ang gumawa nito? Habang lumalalim ang investigation, iba't ibang pangalan at leads ang lumabas. Pero eventually, isang grupo ng lalaki ang naging focus ng prosecution. At isa sa mga pinakakilalang pangalan sa kaso ay si Hubert Webb. Si Hubert Webb ay anak ni dating Congressman Freddie Webb, at nang malingkang pangalan niya sa Visconde Massacre, the case immediately became even more controversial. May pera, may political connection, may media attention, at higit sa lahat, may isang pamilya na desperadong naghahanap ng justice. Pero mariing itinanggi ni Hubert Webb na involved siya sa krimen, at isa sa pinakamahalagang depensa niya, alibay. Sinabi niya na nasa United States siya noong nangyari ang massacre, meaning kung mapapatunayang nasa Amerika siya noong June 30, 1991, hindi siya maaaring nasa Pilipinas para gawin ang krimen. At dito nagsimulang magkaroon ng malaking battle between the prosecution and the defense. Pero may isang witness na magiging napakahalaga sa prosecution. Her name was Jessica Alfaro. Ayon sa kanyang testimony, may knowledge siya tungkol sa nangyari at itinuturo niya ang mga taong sinasabing involved sa massacre. At dahil dito, naging malaking bahagi ng prosecution's case ang kanyang testimony. Pero naturally, question ito ng defense. Totoo ba ang kanyang mga sinasabi? Reliable ba ang kanyang memory? At sapat ba ang kanyang testimony para makulong ang mga taong kanyang inaakusahan? These questions would become extremely important later on. Habang tumatagal ang trial, mas lalong naging public ang kaso. Halos lahat ng developments napapanood at nababasa sa news. At dahil sobrang shocking ng krimen, maraming Pilipino ang gustong malaman kung sino talaga ang responsible. Eventually, noong January 2000, the Regional Trial Court found Hubert Webb and several others guilty. They were sentenced to reclusion perpetua. At para sa pamilya Visconde, parang dumating na rin sa wakas ang justice na matagal nilang hinihintay. Pero, hindi pa tapos ang laban because the accused appealed at ang kaso ay umabot sa Supreme Court. Years later, the Supreme Court reviewed the case and the evidence presented. At dito naging critical ang issue ng credibility ng witnesses, kabilang na ang testimony ni Jessica Alfaro. Mayroon ding malaking question tungkol sa evidence na ginamit laban sa accused. And eventually, noong December 2010, the Supreme Court acquitted Hubert Webb and the other accused. Meaning, legally speaking, hindi napatunayan ng prosecution beyond reasonable doubt na sila ang gumawa ng krimen. At dahil dito, naging mas complicated ang buong story. Because if they were acquitted, then the question became who really killed the Visconde family. Isa sa mga pinaka-importanting issues na lumitaw sa case ay ang DNA evidence. For years, iginiit ni Hubert Webb na pwedeng makatulong ang DNA testing para mapatunayan ang kanyang innocence. At noong 2010, nagkaroon ng effort na ipa-DNA test ang isang semen specimen na nakuha umano mula kay Carmela. Pero may problema. Ayon sa NBI, hindi na nila mahanap ang specimen. So yung evidence na maaaring makatulong sana para magkaroon ng scientific answer was no longer available for testing. And that was one of the reasons why the case became even more controversial. What did the Supreme Court actually say? Pero kailangan natin linawin ng isang importanteng bagay. The Supreme Court's acquittal did not mean na sinabi nilang walang massacre. The victims were real people. The murders happened. Ang ruling ay tungkol sa guilt ng mga akusado. Hindi sapat ang ebidensya para mapatunayan beyond reasonable doubt na sila ang responsible. And that's very important distinction. Kasi sa criminal justice, hindi sapat na may suspicion, hindi sapat na maraming tao ang naniniwala, hindi sapat na may witness na nag-point sa isang tao. The evidence has to meet the legal standard, beyond reasonable doubt. Pero habang pinag-uusapan natin ang legal side ng case, huwag natin kalimutan kung sino ang pinaka-naapektuhan. Si Lauro Visconde, isang ama na nawala ng asawa at 2 anak. For years, hinanap niya ang justice para sa kanyang pamilya. He became one of the most recognizable figures associated with the case. At kahit nagkaroon ng conviction, hindi doon natapos ang kanyang paghahanap ng katotohanan. Then came the Supreme Court's acquittal. And suddenly, the people who had been convicted were free. Pero ang pinakamalaking tanong, wala pa ring malinaw na sagot kung sino talaga ang pumatay sa kanyang pamilya. Why was the case so controversial? The Visconde case became more than just a murder investigation. It became a discussion about the Philippine justice system, about police investigations, about witnesses, about evidence, and about how much weight should be given to testimony when there are questions surrounding its credibility. It also showed us something uncomfortable about criminal cases. Sometimes, the public wants an answer immediately. We want someone to blame, we want someone behind bars, we want the story to have an ending. Pero sa korte, hindi pwedeng ganon. The question isn't simply, sino ang mukhang guilty? The question is, napatunayan ba beyond reasonable doubt na siya ang gumawa? More than 30 years have passed since the terrible night, but the names of Estrelita, Carmela, and Jennifer Visconde remain deeply connected to one of the most controversial criminal cases in the Philippine history. 3 lives, 1 family, 1 brutal crime, and a case went through years of investigation, trial, conviction, appeal, and finally acquittal. Pero hanggang ngayon, may tanong pa ring mahirap sagutin. Who really killed the Visconde family? The Visconde massacre reminds us that true crime isn't always about finding a shocking ending. Sometimes it's about understanding the victim, understanding the evidence, understanding the mistakes, and understanding how difficult it can be to find the truth when years have already passed. Because behind every headline, there are real people. Behind every case file, there are families. And behind every unanswered questions, there are lives that can never be brought back. Estrelita, Carmela, Jennifer, their names should never be reduced to just a crime story. They were mothers, they were daughters, and they were people. And their story remained part of Philippine history.
This has been the Midnight Case Files. Every file tells a story, and every story is real.